Many people noticed that before and during the onslaught of Typhoon Ulysses, the president was missing in action and made no announcement. The netizens couldn't help but express their sentiments online. This became the trending topic last week, and it's just one of many trending topics that continues to divide many Filipinos around the world, especially when the Philippines is impacted by a disaster or a crisis. After reading so many negative reactions last week, I dreamt of this question. What would you do if you were the president of the Philippines? The question is still ringing in my head, and I feel like I want to answer it genuinely. I am probably still dreaming right now. What would you do if you were president? My name is Paris. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is my dream. If I were the president of the Philippines, I am going to apologize for all the sufferings we Filipinos have experienced. From the time Spain colonized us to how we are trying to combat this current health crisis. There were so many opportunities that our government failed to explore for the Filipino people. For that alone, I'd seek your forgiveness. I would ask the Filipino people to welcome healing so we can start moving forward. If I were president, I'd establish a good relationship with my people. I'd remind all 106 million Filipinos that our government is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Without you, our government would not exist. If I were the president of the Philippines, our government would prove and demonstrate integrity. We can't deny that the government attempted to eradicate corruption but was unsuccessful. This can be attributed to zero integrity of so many people serving our country. I always know that our founding grandfathers created our law for us to have peace and order. However, execution of law should not always end in punishment. If I were president, I'd show compassion to all people to understand why they do the things they do. Not just to help citizens who committed crime to own their mistakes and to potentially have a new beginning, but also to know how we can control unlawful behavior from ever happening again. This way, we'd be able to address the real cause of underlying diseases of our country instead of just addressing the symptoms. Yes, I'd show compassion, but I will not forsake the integrity of our law. If I were president, I would not just do what I think is best for my country. I would try to always keep in mind that not all people and areas in the Philippines have the same needs and wants. How? I'd empower all my local government units to engage with my people, to share their feedback freely, and let them be part of resolution. My followers will not be entitled, and my critics will not be silenced. Most Filipinos are afraid to share their feedback as we don't want to offend other people. Ironically, we Filipinos love to share it when the person is not around or if they can't see us. I would not single out individuals because that's the behavior we've inherited from our past. Not all of us were trained to speak our mind, and not all of us were trained to be open and understanding. I'd always remind myself that I won't be able to read your mind, so I would always be motivated to hear you out. If I were president, instead of silencing and shutting down media entities that are criticizing my government, I'd ask them to help me over-communicate things that are essential to my people. If there's a new bill passed into law, or if a category 4 typhoon is about to hit our country, I'd make sure that the majority of the people would know how to explain it to someone who couldn't understand it, so no one will be left behind. I'd make sure to utilize all social media platforms to disseminate correct and complete information, especially those that are urgent and important to my people. If I were the president of the Philippines, I'd honor you with how I position the country in the international arena. I'd strengthen my relationship with other countries without sacrificing the dignity and pride of the Filipino people. And whenever I address our nation, I'd address you in a way that if you died the next day, I'd be satisfied with the last thing I said to you. Are you still with me, guys? I am now wide awake. Are you? Now that I'm wide awake, I couldn't help but wonder if our leaders have the audacity to dream, or they're just like me in the end, full of hopes and dreams in the beginning, only to wake up and realize that presidency is a very hard and difficult position because you always need to put your people first and lead by example. Having said that, I feel like I want to show compassion to our president and all the leaders in the Philippines so I would be able to understand why they do the things the way they do. Maybe I don't need to dream of becoming president. Maybe I should dream of our healing and forgiveness, good relationships, integrity, compassion, and dignity. If all 106 million Filipinos can heal, forgive, and revive our core values, our leaders will be more motivated to give us the leadership we rightfully deserve. They will be ashamed if they fail to serve us because the phrase, we are Filipinos, is more than enough to demand accountability and good leadership. And maybe if we all heal, forgive, and rekindle our core values, we don't need to fight for our gender, identity, status, region, dialect, English proficiency, religion, and political beliefs. Those are just my hopes and dreams. If I had the audacity to dream of becoming president, I should also have the same grit to dream of good things for myself and for my countrymen. Maybe it's not just a dream. Maybe someday it will become our reality. Or maybe I am still not wide awake. Are you?